Coming to you live from downtown St. Louis, we are the Kickback Lounge podcast. My name is Kendall Brown. I'm joined today with my co-host,
Drew Young.
Yes. Today we're going to be talking about Barstool Sports, Penn Entertainment, and that entire deal and how that went down and the current state of Barstool Sports. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Let's dive right in. So in case you guys haven't seen the recent news with Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy is now back in charge.
He is back in charge, man. I love Dave Portnoy. I would say I'm Team Dave. Shout out to him because that dude just keeps it real from day one. You know, he started this business as a newspaper, and he's just on the grind. Somebody I tried to aspire to be like one day, you know.
Yes.
Someone I like a look at their actions, and I'm like, this is something I would like to do one day, is just become a boss like Dave Portnoy. So shout out to him.
In case you guys haven't seen, he has acquired the company back from Penn Entertainment, which is a sports betting company. They prioritize, they have 43 casinos in 20 states. So if that doesn't show you good business, I don't know what does.
Yep, they're like $1 billion company. They're in the sports gambling business, you know, and they recently signed with ESPN. So the reason this is such a big story is because Penn originally bought Barstool from Dave Portnoy, and then they bought a portion of it. Then they just recently bought the rest, and then now Dave Portnoy bought it back for $1. So let's get into some facts, some numbers to give you guys the full scope of this store.
Yes. In early 2020, Penn, which is basically a Pennsylvania-based brand company, whatever you want to call them, they invested $163 million to acquire 36% of the stakes in Barstool Sports.
Not a bad
deal at all. And then they went back and they bought the remaining 64% in February for $364 million. Huge acquirement for $527 million.
Total, yeah.
Huge sale.
They just bought the rest this year. Like you said, February. That's not that long ago.
Not that long ago, man. Like what?
To buy it back. Imagine selling like your house for 300 whatever million and then buying it back for $1. That's some Mr. Beast thing.
So Penn shocked the sports betting world by announcing that a $1.5 billion partnership with Walt Disney's ESPN. And they basically launched a new sports betting entity called ESPN Bet.
And we didn't really know why at first this kind of happened. Like, there were some stories Dave was talking about, like, it's kind of hard for Barstool, like, what they say and what they post to be regulated with gambling. They ran into a bunch of, like, penalties and stuff. But now we figure out there was, like, some profitability issues with, like, their app and everything and getting people to sign up. Because I think he said, like, a lot of companies, like DraftKings, Uber just became profitable, but like before, the only reason they would get, like, they would lose a ton of money, but the only reason they would gain like revenue is from investors, you know? And that's a big deal because once like they become profitable, then the investors make back all their money.
Correct.
But with Barstool, they were losing, like, since Penn is $1 billion company and they had owned Barstool, like it didn't matter that they were losing like a shit ton of money, had all these new people. But before, when Dave Portnoy owned it, he said like they were a profitable company.
And I think for those who follow Barstool Sports, you guys know how big of a presence Dave has in office. And Penn even mentioned that they underestimated his presence in office. So that really just goes to show that he had a personable relationship with his employees.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of the groundwork and all the foot on the ground work was done by Dave.
I mean, for the most part, like, if you watch back in the day, like I did, Dave was a star. Like, if the original,
absolutely,
there was like original content like way back in the day with him, Big Cat, and Kevin. Like, they would go to like different. Well, he was filming since like day one.
I mean, everything was content.
Well, he was filming since day one. Like, when his newspaper was, like, he was still doing the newspaper.
The blogs.
Like, you see the interns coming in, and you see the whole story about how Barstool became a thing, which is like insane. But some like funny content from back in the day. It was like him, Big Cat, and Kevin. I think they went to this like LARPing contest. like you know how they have
Yep.
like big LARPing events like with a
Yep.
bunch of nerds in the park and shit. But he went to like one of those events and like it's just like classic
Dave.
classic Dave, classic Barstool. You
Mhm.
have like videos of them just like beefing in the office, and it was
Mhm.
always like stuff you imagine an office, like an office environment to
Oh,
like
man.
if people could say whatever they want
Mm-hmm.
and they record the whole thing. That's basically what Barstool was all about.
All about. And the thing is that makes that so well, I guess, taken by the fans is that that's a place you guys want to work, man. You look at the pizza reviews, you look at things like Barstool Scenes, things of that nature, and like you got to get an energy of what it's like to work at that company. And that company thrives on its people. I think that company thrives
Absolutely.
on certain people. The dog, basically personalities that are boosted by that company. And in turn, fans really gravitate towards it because it's very relatable.
Yeah, and it's not like this is a place for everybody to work because Dave Portnoy himself is like just a real raw person.
Yes.
And he'll tell it to you straight. Like, and not everybody can handle that. Some people, especially like in media or just in life, will like they kind of want stuff sugar coated. Like they don't want their boss to be like, "No, you fucking suck at your job. You need to work harder. I'm firing your ass." Like not everybody can handle that. It's good for content, but like some people just aren't built for it. And like over the history of Barstool, we've seen like people crumble.
Yes.
We've seen beefs with like people in the office.
Disputes.
And they get to put it all. They get to air out. Imagine like you're in office. You get to air out all
the dirty
like,
laundry, just right
all
out
your
there.
dirty laundry and all your beefs. If you don't like somebody, you can talk about it on the fucking radio.
Yep.
And they just
They nail it. They nail it at that. I think that's what makes them Barstool Sports.
Exactly.
And we said all that to say this. Barstool, after he acquired them back, they had to do over 100 layoffs, which we knew it was coming. Dave even knew it was coming after he acquired it. Before he acquired the company back, he knew that they had to make some cuts.
Yeah. So some of the people have been at the company a long time. The beautiful thing about Barstool is like they put everything out content wise. So you've seen like, if you're a longtime fan, you might have seen people like do their literal interview with the company, and like Dave keeps it real in the interview too. I think I remember back to one. There was like one interview. This guy was in college, and he was about to like graduate in a couple months, and then like he's like Dave goes like, "All right, would you like quit college right now and just come work for Barstool?" And he's like, "Nah, like I just like it's a couple months like." And if it was any other job, they'd be like, okay, like finish your degree, blah,
Finish
blah.
your degree.
And he's like, no, obviously you don't want to work here if
Right.
like I just give you this opportunity and you say no. And that's like a big thing with Dave is like right now. Like there was this intern, he just did a video with this intern from way back in the day. And then they were just doing an update. And I guess like during COVID, his like email got deleted and shit. And he was just an intern, like he didn't even have a desk there. And they weren't giving him any respect and a bunch of bullshit.
No.
And like he ended up bringing in his own desk and shit. And like he's just super lax. Like he didn't. I don't know how much like he actually worked and shit.
Well,
but,
I was gonna
like,
get into that too. Like,
hold on, Dave is like big on characters and shit, and like if it's good for
Huge.
content, like yeah, you might just get the job off that, you know. But yeah, so he ended up actually giving him a job in Miami
yeah,
because he's like creating a Miami Barstool. Yeah, so
it's
insane.
pretty sick, man. And like Drew said, like he gives a lot of people opportunities. Dave being Dave, he does air out all his dirty laundry right on film. And one of the most recent Barstool Scenes videos is him laying off one of their employees. I think his name was like Greg, something like that. The entire office is bashing this guy because he actually works virtually. He works from home. And so he just never has been in office.
I think he was like a blogger. They said he was a blogger for like NFL stuff.
And so Dave lets him go. And then towards the end of the video, they actually bring the guy back on to kind of like just talk about what just happened. He just got fired, and like what are your thoughts on it? It's honestly eye-opening. It shows you that yes, this company is very personable. Even the guy saying yes to come back on and actually discuss his issues with the company and how he got fired, which was really, really interesting. But it just goes to show you that this company is very personable with its employees. With him and that guy though specifically, he basically he told the audience that yes, there's favoritism. You know?
Absolutely.
And so that's kind of where his leadership style gets questioned.
Was it the guy that got laid off with like because of the financial stuff, or did he get fired for something else?
It was financial.
Okay.
They had to make some room. So it wasn't like a personable fire, but he did mention that like he did fire him because he just didn't see his face. The guy didn't come into office and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a big thing too.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when Dave just bought the company back, and like he was in office, and like everybody, there was like nobody in office.
There's nobody in the office that he did not know, that he did not talk to.
No, there was there was like barely anybody there in general.
Correct.
So he was pissed. He's like, no, like, and that's the great thing about Dave being back is like he's just keeping it real. Like he's like, no, you should be here. Like this is an opportunity.
Be at work.
Like if I'm working longer hours than you, like that's insane.
Yes, and that's his big thing. I mean, if you guys know Dave, that's his big thing. So it was really interesting to see that moving forward with this company, he's back to the grind, man. And they're 100 people short now. So obviously, a lot of people are tightening the.
I think there's another 100 layoffs coming, but I know they had a bunch of unnecessary people. I mean, with COVID and everything, we've seen like a ton of layoffs in general. Just with Elon Musk and Twitter, like he laid off a bunch of people. He's like, you don't need this many people to run a company. But the reason for the layoffs is like. Dave said they're losing like $12 million a day, and he's like, I've made my money, I can afford, or not a day, sorry, a year, and he's like, I made my money, I can like afford like $1 million a year, like it's whatever, but like $12 million a year, like no, we're not losing that much money, and there is a ton of unnecessary people, and I will say the time Dave was still president of the company, but like he wasn't like. In office doing like all this shit.
Correct.
He was still doing like pizza reviews and everything. But like when he was gone, I would see Barstool stuff on Twitter, and it was just straight dog shit. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Like it was just like unfactual information sometimes.
There's actually still some drama going on right now that we haven't mentioned with some other podcasts on the company.
We'll get into that. But like. There would just be like posts that were like untrue stuff, and it's like Barstool, like you fell off,
right?
And you kind of realize why, because they just have all these like BS bloggers. Like if you give too many people access to the Twitter, like of course it's gonna go downhill. But like now that Dave's back, it's just awesome to see. And Barstool, like I've been watching the Stool Scenes. It's like one of their video things they put out, like their content in the office they put out behind the scenes, and like you get to see into like. The radio, you get to see it, people talking shit on each other, and then it like all gets aired out. It's awesome.
Oh, it's awesome. I'm glad that he's back, first and foremost. I love Dave. I think his personality brings way more than people think to the table. I think he's the only one of one we have that can do that, where you can run a blog and run all these sites and these podcasts and these pizza reviews and get all this content and also still be the front runner. Like you are the head of the place. I mean, the only company I can think of is like maybe UFC. Where there's like a like front,
Dana.
Yeah, where there's like a figure doing all this footwork. So it's really impressive to see. And then he got it back for $1, man. Like he can retire right now if he wanted to.
Yeah, that's but he also said I think in life you always have to have a purpose. But he also said he has no plans to sell the company till he dies.
Correct. Yeah.
And then like if he, like we mentioned before, if he does sell the company, Penn gets 50% of it.
Correct.
So that's like you're probably. Thinking like $1, like that's nothing. Like there is other avenues to which they're making money. Plus they're getting bought by ESPN, so they're fine. You know what I mean?
And Dave also has some stakes still in Penn. Like there's no bad blood there. He still has stake in Penn. He wants them to succeed so that he can actually continue to grow as well. So it's kind of a partnership, kind of not. I mean, but at the end of the day, I think it's all business, and it's about making money.
Absolutely.
And you have to be able to make some money, make some profit. So I'm glad that they made the right cuts. And
I think it's money, and then he just wants his company to be like Barstool. Like he has an idea of what Barstool is.
Yep.
And he wants people to live up to that. And if not, you out of here.
Correct.
But
correct.
Shout out to him. Congrats on to Dave Portnoy, man. Hey, if you want to hire your boy, shout out. Hey, what's up, bro? Would you ever work in that environment?
100%. I think just the opportunity alone of just being in that space, which is kind of why I didn't really right off the bat, the guy Greg or whoever was working virtually, why would you not want to work? And then he mentioned in the video, he's like, I should have been there. Why would you not want to work in that environment? Like,
I think it's just like that environment.
All those wolves, man.
Well, when Penn owned it,
yeah,
like it wasn't the same as like when Dave is in the office and shit.
Correct.
But like, I get it. Plus, like, if you can work from home, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? But it's like in this certain specific situation, man, where you have a guy like Dave in office some days, like just
Well, now
just being in the
yes.
presence of a guy like that who's like legitimately like a wolf, like this guy he doesn't give a shit. Like he's all about his money, he's about his business, he's about that action. You know what I mean? Like being around that and being in that environment is what you want to surround yourself with if you're a sports blogger, because not only is it already a competitive market, but when you're dealing with a guy like Dave, he has so much footing and like so many strings in the game. He can put you on more blog posts than you can put on. Like if you were to do LinkedIn, Dave is your LinkedIn, bro. Like Dave is the guy that's going to get you, word of mouth and things like that to put you to the next level. So
I've actually seen some people.
we've seen it. We've seen it.
I've actually seen some people on LinkedIn that have gotten laid off from Barstool.
Yeah.
And they're like, it was like so great working here, blah, blah, but hey, it's life. That's how it goes.
If you're a young guy around the ages of 20 to 35, like that's probably one of the most sought after jobs you want to get into.
Maybe, I guess if you're a sports blogger, some people, started themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody wants to work for somebody, but hey.
So what did you think of the pizza review of his recent comeback?
Oh yeah.
That's like his first official, like I guess, pizza review where he's acquired the company again.
I guess I don't know how accurate that is because he like records them, but like there was a big. I mean, it's kind of hard to like get into it. It's like its own reaction video,
Mm-hmm.
but there was a moment where it was Dragon Pizza. It went viral where Dave Portnoy went to this doing like a normal pizza review, and I guess he didn't like something about the pizza. I don't know. He said it was like too garlicky or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he's just not a garlic guy, so
No.
he gave the pizza like a 6.
Like a 6.
I think it was like 6.4 or something like that.
Which that's fair. If you're dealing with Dave, that's fair.
I mean, it's
not good.
It's not a good score.
It's not good.
But like
it's
he
fair.
just doesn't like garlic. That's what he was saying.
Right.
And after he said the score, the guy actually came out and then he was like, he's like, I don't appreciate you like judging small businesses based on like one bite.
Mhm.
And it's just like, okay, one bite, everybody knows the Rose is like the slogan, but
That's the slogan.
he's obviously taking more bites. Like, come on.
Yeah.
That
He
and
likes
then he's done like hella pizza reviews. If anybody's gonna review your business, I mean, why wouldn't you
You want that guy to
want
do
Dave
it, man.
Portnoy? And if you truly believe in your pizza, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then he was also saying like the small business thing. Like during COVID, Dave Portnoy, he had a fund for small businesses and like restaurants to stay open.
Yeah.
And like I said, he raised like $50 million. So
Mhm.
like, what do you mean? You don't appreciate what he's doing like to small businesses and shit?
The guy didn't
But
know
it was
what he
just
talking
funny.
about.
And the guy came out again and he's like, I'm gonna make myself clear, like get out from in front of my business or whatever. And then Dave's like, let me make myself clear. Fuck you. And it's like classic Dave. It's you should check out the video.
Yeah, very funny video. I think that, it just shows how misinformed that guy was for coming out and saying some shit like that. But yeah, man, it's just one of those things. We looping it back to the layoffs. Like I think that Barstool Sports is definitely making the right move.
Absolutely. You
In
gotta
order
make
to
that money.
survive. They got to survive.
Mhm.
And I think that Dave sees this too. Like, it's better to just have the company survive than to sell it and go be rich somewhere. I think he enjoys owning this company. I think he enjoys being a part of this
yeah.
company.
If he didn't, he would have been sold it.
He would have been sold it. He could have retired a while ago.
And it would have fucking crashed already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all that goes into it. But we would love to know you guys' thoughts about it. I think it's one of the best business moves of the last decade for sure. At least in my eyes.
I mean,
I can't think of any other company that made that kind of business move and got their company back
Yeah.
for $1.
I have to look into that, but yeah, it's pretty.
We'll do some research. But
Yeah, it's a
impressive.
huge move for Dave. But if you guys like the video, make sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts, let us know. Do you like Barstool Sports? Do you hate Barstool Sports?
yes.
Do you like Dave Portnoy? Do you hate Dave Portnoy?
Yes.
What do you think of this whole story? Let us know in the comments. Sub to the channel, and have a nice day, bro.
Mess with the boys. We'll see y'all later. Peace.
Deuces.